Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Patek Philippe Nautilus reference 3700-1 in steel with a black dial, also known as the Jumbo, and in fact it's the very first Nautilus ever created. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this watch, then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar Nautiluses, then I'll tell you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start just with some history. Now this is the granddaddy of all Nautiluses. In fact, it's the very first Nautilus that was ever created. That's right, let that sink in for a second. Let me repeat it. It's the first Nautilus that was ever created. Gerald Genta in 1972 created first the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. Then Patek saw the potential in a luxury sports watch and decided they also wanted it to be part of it. So they had the same guy, Gerald Genta, produce a luxury sports watch for Patek. And they called that watch the Nautilus. And this is what it looked like. And that was back in 1976. This watch was manufactured in 1977 and it was sold not long after that. So it's the first reference of this kind, and there was not a lot of them. I saw from some references that there was around 3,500 or 3,500 examples of this reference, 3700-1. Not a whole lot of these out there. I'm not sure if that's entirely correct because Patek doesn't publish those, but that's just what one source said. But it doesn't really matter how many exactly. The point is there's not a lot of them, and this is one of them. So, by the way, if you want to buy it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. So, where it stands in the lineup is that this is the very first of the Nautiluses. Now, the Nautilus has since gone on to have many different variations with different sizes, colors, materials, complications, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through all that because it would take forever, but this is the very first one, and that makes it special just because of that. And it's called a Jumbo because they made it at 40 millimeters, and back then 42 millimeters. Back then it was gigantic. You would think 42 millimeters now is just normal, but back then it was huge. We were like, wow, that's a huge watch. And it was a sports watch, and it was made of stainless steel. But all those things combined were not something that you saw back in the day. And this was in 1977, by the way. That's almost 50 years ago. So quite some time ago, and it was revolutionary for the time. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's just about a little bit about where it stands in the lineup. And I will also say this: there's a lot of Nautiluses out there. Some will go up in value, some probably not. But I believe that this one, the Jumbo, will continue to rise in value over time because of its rarity. Other modern Nautiluses, you can buy them anytime as long as you have money. But these vintage Nautiluses, yes, you need to have money to buy them, but just because you do have the money doesn't mean you can get it, because there's not always examples out there on the market for sale that are clean, that are complete like this, and in beautiful condition. So that is another thing or attribute that makes this Nautilus, I believe, will continue to rise in value, as opposed to, for example, a modern 5711 or 5811, something like that. Okay. All right. Anyways, so that's just a little bit about the history and where it stands in the lineup. Okay. And then, by the way, this one has a black dial. It almost looks gray by now, maybe because it's faded over the last 50 years. But they also made a blue dial. They made some other Roman dials and such. But yeah, this one happens to be black. They call it black matte ribbed dial. So ribbed meaning these little lines here, that's ribbed, and matte dial meaning it's not shiny. So that's what they call it back then. Okay, anyways, let's start talking about the watch itself, starting with the case. Again, it's 42 millimeters. at the time it was gigantic. It's like, and even now the Nautilus is 40 millimeters. Only the 40th anniversary is 42 millimeters, and that's a huge Nautilus. This one for 1977 or 76 when it first came out, that was a huge watch, being at 42 millimeters. Even now it's kind of large, right? So that's kind of a cool thing, I would think. All right, now what about this case can we say? Well, it's the size I've already told you. It still has the same case shape in that it has very wide lugs. It has these protectors that are symmetric on either side at the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. It serves to protect the crown, and on the other side it acts as a hinge to allow the top to kind of open, and it also makes it aesthetically symmetric from both the left and the right side if you were to split it down the 12 to 6 o'clock position. I think that's pretty cool. In fact, more or less, the Nautilus is looking just like it does right now. It looks the same. Let's look at the next thing, which is the bezel. The bezel is the most iconic part of this watch, which makes the watch look like a Nautilus. It looks kind of like a circle, but you can tell it's not. It's kind of like a square, but it's not. It has sort of edges to it, and you can see that it's not exactly an octagon like the Royal Oak, but it has its own flavor. And in fact, I would just call it a Nautilus. It has a brush finish top and high polish on the beveled edge of the bezel, and just it's a very unique design. It looks very 1970s, if you ask me. This Art Deco look. Let's look at the dial now. This dial is really what it makes this watch quite special as well. Is that this one's a black dial, but as I said, it's kind of faded over time. It really produced a nice patina, and it kind of looks blue, grayish, black. I don't know. It just looks like a something that's faded over time, and of course it has. I mean, it's 50 years old almost. So yeah. And if you look, the next thing here is that the hands and the hour markers, it actually says on the paperwork tritium. Tritium is actually a radioactive material. They don't use it anymore because actually it is, as the name implies, radioactive. But the radioactivity allowed the watch to have some glow. Back then, that's what they did until they realized, well, you can actually get cancer from that. So, but that's how they did it back then. And that radioactive material would actually not be white anymore. It would start to patina, and you'd see this sort of brown color. And a lot of collectors like to have that because it's unique to vintage watches. And I think that's pretty cool too if you look at it. And so, yeah. The next thing I notice also is that it doesn't have a second hand. There's no second hand. There's just time. There's hour and minutes only. That lends for a much cleaner look. Maybe if it doesn't tell the greatest time because you can't see the second, but still, you can have hour and minute, and most of us aren't looking at the watch to count down to the second. So I think for the sake of cleanliness, it looks much better with just hour and minute. And actually that is how the Royal Oak was also. And it probably has to do something with the movement, which is going to be my next topic. It's really interesting. Let's look at the movement here. Now the movement is covered. Now the new ones, you can actually see them, but back in the day, 1970 something, they didn't show the movement. Okay, but let's talk about the movement though. Interestingly, both Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet got their movements from Jaeger-LeCoultre. Can you believe that? Jaeger-LeCoultre nowadays is hardly a force to even be reckoned with. I mean, they're a very small player in the game. Not that they don't make good watches, but they're not a big player. And you would imagine, can you imagine Patek and Audemars were both getting their movements from Jaeger-LeCoultre? It's incredible. It's a caliber 920, and both AP and Patek got their movements from Jaeger, and then they modified it. And then Patek modified it to become a caliber 28-255C, which is the one that's sitting in here, and it has the characteristic of being really, really thin. So this watch is not only big, but it's also thin, which is a good characteristic for those who want to wear it in a lot of situations, such as sporting situations or also in dress situations. It's really a cool watch if you ask me. Okay, And the next thing is that that's the movement, okay? So the movement, it's just and they use this movement, wow, for a really long time. So you know it's a very quality movement. In fact, it's still working now. So yeah, quite nice. Okay, let's look at the bracelet here. The bracelet is actually the same as it still looks nowadays. It looks exactly the same. It has the same the center links, high polished, and a sort of beveled edge down the side and satin finish over the top, except the buckle is a little different. It has this old school kind of flip lock Datejust looking buckle, and that's how they did it back then. It's a very old school, but you know, it's not bad. It looks just like a Datejust, but it's not. It says a Nautilus, and yeah, that's how it looked. And it actually even has a safety lock, so you can flip it over to make sure it doesn't come undone. So I think that's also pretty cool. They actually continue to use these safety lock buckle, similar idea, for a really long time. I think up until 2020. So that actually makes like 40 years. They more or less use the same thing. And I can also point out that back then they did screws for the links. So you actually screw in these links, which is actually the normal way that you would take links in and out. For whatever reason, now they actually use this pin sleeve pressure system that's actually kind of old school. I'm not sure why they use it. The old system I think was actually better, but you know, I'm sure they have their reasons. But anyways, that's how they did it back then. Now they use a different system. Okay. Anyways, that's the bracelet. Now time to try this watch on and give my thoughts. I can't really say enough good words about the Nautilus. I mean, I would even say that without the Nautilus and Aquanaut, Patek would be a kind of a whatever brand. I mean, their complications are selling at 30 off. Their grand complications are selling at 50 off. I mean, that's not really any different from any other watch company. But Patek has a secret weapon, and that secret weapon is the Nautilus and the Aquanaut, which all sell at like double, triple, you know, of retail, and people are dying to get these watches, buying all sorts of garbage from Patek in order to get that. You might not call it garbage, but you know, when you're selling something at 30, 40, 50% off, well, you know, it's not that great, is it? Okay, it might look great, but you know, it's not worth the price that Patek is asking for. If it was, it wouldn't sell at 30 to 50% off, right? That's just the facts of it, whether you like it or not. I'm actually a huge fan of Patek, so I'm not gonna say it's garbage, but you know, if it's selling at 30 to 50% off, well, you know, you make your own conclusions from there. But their Nautiluses definitely are not. They're selling for way above list. Okay, double, triple sometimes, and yeah, $100,000 over list, you know, even more sometimes. But anyways, the point here is that this is the granddaddy of them all. If you want the granddaddy, well, this is it. You can't get any more granddaddy than this. And so I'm definitely going to give it 3 thumbs up, because this is like, you know, to have this watch it's incredible. You're so lucky. And by the way, if you want to buy it, you simply click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com. So I'm going to give it 3 thumbs up. It's one of the coolest watches I've ever reviewed, held in my hand, looked at, and had the opportunity to sell. And so I'm holding a piece of history literally in my hand. And if you want to own it too, then just simply buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.